So you've been asking me if I sell my soil and what I use for all of my Hoyas. This is primarily all the soils for the tropicals that do not like to have wet feet and need to stay dry but need moisture as well. So in order to get very aerated roots, I use a lot of like different things that make it really chunky and have different, I would say, characteristics, right, to make the soil really, really cool. Now, of course, this is not for rooting. I don't root them in this. I actually root them in perlite and vermiculite because it just works well, and I root them in water. So at some point they get water, and then at some point they get perlite, vermiculite, and they start building up towards going in here. So what is in here is a little bit for moisture, sphagnum moss with peat moss. Now it's not like, it's like ground sphagnum, right? So it just adds moisture. It's not like little pieces of moss. And then I have vermiculite, which also adds moisture. I have lava rock in here. There is leca, so these little balls of leca. There is like orchid bark or like cocoa coir bark, right? So this is like a really nice bark. There is also perlite for aeration, which is kind of like puffed pieces. It's the white ones. So puffed pieces of like lava, I think it is, right? Volcanic rock or something. Then there's also horticultural charcoal. And that's about it, aside from like some peat moss mixed in. And I get it really, really nice and chunky. Now, if you notice, this is not a lot of peat, right? It's very chunky. So the brown you're seeing is a combination of worm castings, a little bit of peat moss, and a little bit of sphagnum moss mixed in. But it's very, very chunky and it's aerated. So what you want to do is you put this and let their little roots will kind of go and get on into this nice chunky mix, and it has a lot to grip onto. Then you dip them in water. So I like bottom water them a lot, or I will shower them to get the leaves really, because you don't want your leaves ever to get dust on them because they won't photosynthesize properly. So I will shower every once in a while, but then mostly I will bottom water. And it's kind of like orchids, right? You want to like let them dry out. Now there are some that don't like to dry out, but for most of them, let them dry out and bottom water them, let the moisture get into this stuff, and then put them in a nice pot where it can dry out and it goes through that nice drying process. I would even venture to say if you use a meter, which I do, I use a meter. So as you can see, it is dry, right? But then you use the meter to see when it is wet. So when something is wet and moisturized, it will register as wet. And that's what I do to maintain my beautiful tropicals. And when somebody orders tropicals from me, they get this beautiful mix when it is a rooted plant. All right, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.